Yo, what's up? So I was watching a video where a young woman was talking about the loneliness of modern society and how I think we all are aware, unless you've been living under a rock, the mental health epidemic that sweeps our country and the loneliness epidemic that somehow managed to come out in the same sense in which these phones came out. And if you don't understand the correlation, the funny thing about phones, they gave us so many tools, access, blessings that made life easy, but they also gave us social media. And my thoughts on social media is I don't always think it's a bad thing. For the most part, I see, at least in my life, there's a lot of people who use it to connect and message each other and stay in contact. But a vast majority of people, I'm not going to say all because I have seen exceptions to the rule misuses social media. It's more of a meme central where they're scrolling through useless information as opposed to useful information. It's more become about their own little world, like them posting about just them. And you'd be surprised when you give human beings a good thing, a vast majority of them take good things and use it for twisted purposes. And that's my misanthropic side talking. And I am quite a misanthrope. I think a lot of it just kind of links back to when I was a kid, because I was always that one child who always wanted to be excited to go out and do things for other people, because I thought that we lived in a community, in a society, and I ended up running my energy around for other people, thinking that one day it would come back in a return. And a lot of people will tell me that they don't have to return the favor, and you're right. They don't. So my first response was when the favors weren't returned, and I was abandoned as a kid in return for all of the loyalty I showed to all my friends and peers and everything like that. I remember being upset for a very long time, but then I did realize, you know what? You're right. I was selfish to expect anything in return. But on the other hand, I don't have to keep running favors for people. I don't have to keep having each other's backs, being someone else's cornerman, because I got to be my own cornerman in my own life. Everyone, despite all the moral posturing that you see on social media, they all look out for themselves. Anybody who tells you that they're selfless or that they're the good person in a twisted society, they're being disingenuous. Everyone has to be a little selfish every now and again. There's a healthy dose of reality that slaps us in the face. And once I started being more selfish and looking out for what was going to make me happy, a lot of my one-sided loyal friendships started dissipating, because then they started thinking I was the selfish one. But really what they meant was that the doormat was no longer there for them to open up whenever they left the world and needed to wipe their feet off on something. The meal ticket of having an assured person to be in their corner and pick them up wasn't going to be there anymore. And I think you realize as you go around, someone who's going to be willingly there in someone's corner to help you when you return just isn't going to happen anymore. And I think that's how I started attributing to this loneliness epidemic, because I just kind of realized I'm darned if I do, darned if I don't in this society. And my best move with all of the social media narcissism and everyone pursuing their own goals would be to basically stick to myself and build my own things. And the early stages of my psyche, it was very damaging. It was like, wow, did I do something wrong? Am I doing something wrong? I really miss people. But eventually, as I used my time to build skills and research other things, I actually started getting comfortable in solitude. Now, it doesn't mean that I'm completely closed off for society, through society. I actually do have circles that I do hang out in, but they are very selective and they are a specific type of person. Do I go out to bars anymore? No, I don't. But I will go to jiu-jitsu open mats because there's a lot of like-minded people, like-minded, goal-oriented people who share my interests and at least share the worldview that I see. So it's not about me just completely closing myself off, but picking which groups of people I tend to spend my time with, because it also felt like the universe was protecting me from wasting my time and my energy on people who were going to be net negatives. Because regardless of what people tell you, to those of you who want to be around so many people, abundance of people, I got two things for you. Number one, you cannot have 1,000 quality relationships. The person who has a lot of friends really has no friends, and it's true because you see these people with 1,000 likes on their social media. How many of those people who like their posts on the regular do you think they actually know? Probably in reality, maybe only 2 or 3 they're actually really close to. And number two, it's just like time is one of the most valuable commodities. And you could spend it with people who could suck you down, and then you waste time, resources, energy. You need to be around people who lift you up, or at least want you to succeed, or want you to get your reps in, and want you to get better at something. Those are the people that you really want to be around. So when you look around, though, and see the whole loneliness thing with these phones that, cause us so much loneliness, even though they were meant to give us so much convenience, it's about taking the tide and turning it to your will. It's about taking the tide of the modern state of the world, because we see that all over where, I think a lot of people are hurting right now. Men, women, children, older people of all sorts of ages, ethnicities, everything like that. We're all kind of been having some grievances right now. And a lot of us do feel really disconnected and lonely while we stare into our phones for hours on end. But I think that the blessing in disguise is a lot of us are going to wake up to it. A lot of us are going to say, okay, we know where the world's going, but I think the thing is I don't have to go along with the world's trends. And, maybe the traditional path of our lives is not the traditional path that we thought was going to be laid out for our lives. It's not there, obviously, anymore. But I think we have our own story to write. We're not going to follow the same, life strategy the boomer or the parents did. We are going to have to figure out how to do things our own way. And I think that's one thing, because one of the big things that I always used to get upset about is lack of guidance. And I realized if I was guided, I would have been given information that was completely obsolete. And when life is my teacher and life gives me information on the world that I live in, I think I have a much better teacher that's more fit. And I think that's the universe's plan. It's not disrespect to the people who raised me or anything like that, but if they would have given me more information, a lot of that info would have just completely been useless in a world where the times are changing. So to anybody who feels super duper lonely, all I have to say is you might not have a lot of friends, but you do have a lot of time. And I think the best thing you could do is use it. So that way when quality people come around, you've built yourself into someone who has a bit of an abundant castle for you and your newfound loved ones. Peace out.